Well, hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. Hey, we're going through right now toward the end here of First Thessalonians. We're talking about the 22 commands, and these 22 commands are and I've entitled it. Where is it? The 22 commandments to Christians living in the end times. Okay, so this is part 3. We talked about the first 2, which were encourage one another, build each other up. Yesterday we talked about acknowledge those who care for you in the Lord, honor those in ministry, and then live at peace with each other, okay, in the church. And then today I want to talk about, there's 4 of them here, and they're all taken from verse 14. And it's warn those idle and disruptive, encourage the disheartened, help the weak, and then be patient with everyone. Okay, so those are the next 4, verse number 6 through 9. And they're all taken from verse 14. So let's read verse 14 of 1 Thessalonians 5. It says this: "And we urge you, brothers and sisters, warn those who are idle and disruptive, encourage the disheartened, help the weak, and be patient with everyone." Okay? So those are the next 4 here. And again, these were things that Paul was saying in the end times, in the last days, in the church. These are things that you need to be doing, okay, in order to thrive, really. So let's talk about it. The first one is warn those who are idle and disruptive. The idle is like someone who's just coasting along, not really doing anything. They're just idle. They're not helping out in the church at all. They're the ones that come in to the church, and they might sneak in the back, and then they're like out of there quick before the service is over, and you never really see them doing everything. You would call them really just a consumer, okay? Not a part of the church, but a consumer of the church. That's a mentality we have a lot today, is that we are consumers in the church. We're not. God didn't ever call us to be consumers of the church. He called us to be a participant in the church. So Paul is saying, hey, warn those people that you need to be a participant, not be a consumer in the church, okay? And then he also said, warn those who are idle, and then disruptive, okay? You have people that they think their idea of participating in the church is to be disruptive and be critical of everything, okay? You've met people like that they're like, they come to the church, they don't really want to do anything, but they sure do want to critique everything that happened, okay? They want to have pastor's sermon, critique the pastor's sermon for lunch and what all he did wrong with it, but they don't really have much to say about the good things they got out of it, okay? And they can find all kinds of things wrong with the church, and talk about how bad, the pastor is, the elder is, the youth pastor, everything else, and when I get around those people, I kind of cringe. I'm like, it makes me feel yucky inside. And those are people, Paul is saying, they're disruptive in the church, and you need to warn those people. And so that makes me cringe, I need to warn those people, hey, you need to be a part of the church, but you're not to be disruptive and, try and tear things apart in the church. Okay, so that's the 6th command. The next one is encourage the disheartened. Okay, you're going to find people in the church that are disheartened. They're discouraged because of something that happened, or they're having a hard time, going along. And you need to be a person that encourages that person rather than discourage that person. Okay, so look for ways you can encourage the disheartened. Okay, not everyone in the church is disheartened, so look for those people that are disheartened, and look for ways that you can encourage them. Okay, and the thing is, you might have gone through something. Let's say you went through a divorce back 10 years ago, and then you see another person at the church that is now going through a divorce, and you may be the one that can help that person and guide that person and encourage that person that's disheartened right now. Okay, and then the next one, the 8th one, is help the weak. Okay, when I think of helping the weak, I'm thinking of like a crutches or a walker or something like that. A weak person has to have the crutches because they broke their leg, or they have to have that walker. Um, there was a guy that used to come to church with me, and he needed help getting into the church building, and so I would help him, first get out of the car and then walk across the parking lot, and sometimes then he'd need to take a rest before he got in the church building, and then sometimes was just holding his hand to get up the steps, all that stuff. This was just to get into the church, okay? But I'm talking spiritually speaking too, that you need to help the weak. There might be someone going through something, and they don't know how to handle it. You're there to help them during that time. You're there to be those crutches and that walker to that person to help guide them, okay? And then the last one, the number 9, is to be patient with everyone, okay? That's something that takes time. It takes work. It takes just being in communion with God. I would say the first thing you need to do is to be patient with everyone, is start to pray. And I want you to start to pray that you would see people the way God sees those people, okay? When you start to look around and you start looking like, what can I get out of the people around me? And you start to look at people the way God sees those people, your heart starts to change, and you start to have compassion, and you start to be more patient with those people. The person that is driving reckless around you, instead of being all mad and impatient with that person, you start to see those people the way God sees them, and you get beside that person, you realize, well, this is like a person that's 120 years old, and they really shouldn't be driving, but I guess they have to drive to get wherever they're going. And so that poor person, I need to be a little more patient with that person who's just trying to survive out there on the road, and being 120 years old or whatever they are on the road. And so that has helped me a whole lot in my life, is to pray and ask God to give me the vision, that the way He sees people. And so that way I'm more patient. And I will admit that in my early Christian walk, of course, I was not patient with people. I mean, what's wrong with you? And it drive me bonkers the way people would act and stuff. Now, as I have become more mature, and I'm far, far, far from being like Jesus, but I've come a long way, and in that way, I can see that I'm now more patient with people. I have a ways to go, but and it starts with me understanding and looking at people the way God would look at those people. Okay, so those are the 4 things: warn those idle and disruptive, encourage the disheartened, help the weak, and then be patient with everyone. Okay, so work on those things. Hey, I am a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you next time as we continue our journey through 1 Thessalonians. Lord's blessing. I'll see you then.